I just got back from a month in Asia and I left the US with no return ticket and just a backpack. I got flooded with DMs when I shared this photo on my Instagram of people asking what I even packed, how I packed, did I even bring any makeup at all? I did share a video on packing my travel makeup bag for Asia, so if you haven't seen that yet, I basically take what I chose out for my Shop My Stash that month and then I condense it down even further. It was tough choices. I was going back and forth over the freaking NARS concealer for the longest time. It ended up winning out, not in the video, but it did come on the actual trip with me. I looked at what I brought as kind of a culmination of my Shop My Stash series. I've done Shop My Stash and Project Pan in the past, and I will be frank, I did them because they were trending. They were what was popular on YouTube, and as a new YouTuber, that's what you did. You did what was popular, you did what was trending, you watched what was working for other people, and then you tried to repeat it in your own way. But it was probably pretty obvious that I didn't really care for the series. I was really inconsistent with them. Like sometimes I would post monthly updates on how my Project Pan was going. Sometimes it would be 4 months until you got a check-in from me, and most years the series just kind of like faded away with no like real ending. I would replace Project Pan, Shop My Stash videos. I would replace them with, you know, what's new in makeup, makeup hauls, monthly favorite videos. But let me get you zoomed in, we can chat a little bit more. So far I just used my favorite Bare Minerals. My girlfriend Ashley found these in Copper Rose. I was so excited because I used mine up. I took Golden Peach in my makeup bag, and I was saying in my Shop My Stash that like I just need Copper Rose. I just have to make sure, I don't know how much longer honestly, without having a tan that I can use it, but we're gonna do like our best for today. We're gonna do our best. And then one of my girlfriends just got me this from Danessa Myricks. This is the Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer. I have not tried this. I haven't tried a ton from Danessa Myricks, but I am excited. Am I gonna be able to open this? Always the question of the day. And so as we're getting ready, I wanted to talk a little bit about Asia, but when I was thinking about this video, I didn't really just want to give like a play-by-play of my trip. I didn't think that was really the most interesting of videos. I've posted a lot of short form of like what I did, what I ate, and when I was thinking about it and when I was seeing your comments, your messages, your emails, and all of those things, I kind of kept seeing some repetition with the comments of like, you're really lucky that you get to go on this trip, and like, how are you able to do a trip like this? How are you able to leave without a return ticket? That was kind of the main question. So instead of sitting here and being like, this is what I did and what I bought and what I ate, I wanted to talk a little bit, I wanted to go a little bit further. Ooh. Okay, so this one that I have is in shade 6. So that looks like a really good shade match for me. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the under eyes, a little like in the center of my face, like for some redness right in there. Ooh, I hope I brought brushes. Oh, I did. I took my brushes out, but I remembered to put some back in because I'm moving over my makeup bag since I just did the Shop My Stash. So then I'm going to blend this out. I'm excited because I haven't tried a new concealer in a minute. I've been really on my Kulfi and my Tower 28, but that looks pretty good. I've heard really good things about this concealer. That looks really good. Shade match wise, it blended super easily. I'm using the BK Beauty Nikki La Rose N19 brush. Ooh, wow, that's nice. Okay, okay. So all good. So as I'm talking, if I don't remember to say the products that I'm using, I'm going to try to as we go along, but I will have everything linked in my description box, of course. I will also have them linked in the YouTube shopping tab, so you'll see like little pop-ups coming up in here, and that's always like such a helpful way, especially December is like a really big time for creators. So any shopping that you are doing, if you use affiliate links or like the YouTube shopping or anything like that, it always helps us so much. I got an email from YouTube the other day and it was like, viewers can now hype your videos. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like there's always so much like changing and happening, and I'm like, well, they're like, make sure to tell people that they can hype your videos. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but apparently you can hype up our videos now. Okay. I feel very like millennial when I'm like, I can't keep up with things, but I can. But talking about kind of feeling like this trip was like the culmination of the Shop My Stash and how I've tried to do them in the past and then, you know, definitely replace them with the, you know, especially my series, Will I Buy It, the new makeup releases that I did every single week. That was kind of the trajectory of my channel. That was trajectory of my outlook. That's what I was thinking about every day was new makeup, what new makeup I could talk to you about, how to share my favorites, what hauls I could do next, shopping vlogs that I could do next. And then enter 2020. That year changed a lot of people in a lot of ways, and I can definitely raise my hand as being one of those. But when the entire world is going through something like a global pandemic, you can't step outside without fear. You can't check the mail without thinking you're gonna get sick. You can't visit family members without thinking you'll get them sick or they'll get you sick. Like, you can't even turn on the news because you're just gonna be overwhelmed with like disbelief of like, is this happening? Fear, sadness, grief. And I feel like that time really made a lot of people, myself included, like look at our own lives and, you know, what were we happy? What were we happy about? Like, what fulfilled us? What did we wish was different? I think it's pretty common for most people to, you know, wonder about their future, what it looks like, future goals and all of those things. But all of a sudden that year, it wasn't just like you were wondering what your future looked like. You were wondering if you had a future. And that was pretty scary. So I decided to look at my past and look at what was I proud of, you know, where did I feel discontent, and what could I change if I made it past this, you know, terrible time in history when, you know, some of my loved ones didn't make it, but if I were to, like, what did I want my future to look like? And I'm trying not to get like super deep and like philosophical here, but these are real questions. I've recently gone back and started reading my journals from the 2020 timeframe. And, you know, obviously I'm very candid when I'm writing just for myself, but reading them really had quite an impact on me of what was truly going through our minds during this time. And you might be thinking like, Samantha, what the heck does 2020 have to do with your low buy in 2025? How does this circle back to like being able to travel without a return ticket like we started talking about in the beginning? I wanted to share with you where the change started. Because a lot of times with social media, we see the highlights and we see the success. We don't see the full journey. We don't see the bad and the ugly side. We only see the good. Like, I think it to myself, like when I see someone, you know, going viral online, almost always my first thought is like, oh, they're so lucky. And then I realized that like, oh, this person actually worked an internship for 7 years and that's how they got this career opportunity. Oh, this person's actually been in dance classes since they were 4 years old. Okay, well, I didn't bring a bronzer brush, so that's pretty unfortunate. I'm just gonna use my blush brush. I have to wash this anyways, so we're just gonna make do, but I grabbed this out in my last Shop My Stash, so I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury here. And this is the Nikki Rose N17. But going back to, you know, seeing people's successes online, it's like, sure, there are times where success is luck and people do the right thing at the right time and just happen to strike gold. That's definitely a thing, right? But a lot of times when you see success, there is a story behind it. There is a timeline behind it. There is a journey behind it. And maybe we just don't see that part of it. So sometimes it's like a lot of hard work that doesn't get recognized and it just instantly looks like, oh wow, that person had overnight success, like is all of a sudden, you know, making a lot of money or really high up at where they work or whatever it may look like, right? But we probably don't know the actual full story behind it. In 2021, I got divorced and I moved from Iowa to Las Vegas. And with such a huge life change comes a lot of life changes, for lack of a better term. Going from a 5-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom home was definitely one of those changes for me. I wasn't under the impression that my life was going to look the same when I moved to Las Vegas, but I think it was still a pretty big shock to my system of being on my own for the first time. Like I met my husband when I was 18 and I had never like lived alone, even like literally ever. I've never lived alone until I moved to Las Vegas and I was what, 32, I think. 32 when I moved here. I was also in such a different workspace from the last several years and like the workspaces that I had built for myself in Iowa. I owned 2 different homes when I lived in Iowa, and my last home, I had a separate room as an office space. I had a separate room as a filming space. I had a separate room for my makeup collection, and I even had a separate room that was dedicated to like giveaways, shipping. I was in the process of starting my own business, which is now by Samantha March. That was like my inventory room. That was where I had boxes, bubble wraps, like tape, everything. So to say that house was like kind of taken over by my whole business is like putting it lightly, but that's what it looked like. I'm using my blush that I made with Ofra. This one is in Chick Lit. I grabbed this out this month too, and I think that it's so pretty. So I moved to Las Vegas, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is like a pretty big 2-bedroom apartment. Like I still have one that's like my bedroom, but then I can have this other big bedroom with a bathroom in here, and it can be my filming space and my office and a place for inventory and my warehouse and my ship. I'm like, oh wait, like what seemed like a really big apartment, very quickly I realized to try to condense a 5-bedroom home that was an office, a filming studio, and a warehouse into one room, it definitely was a change. And I also quickly realized that it was a change that simply wasn't gonna work for me. Also grabbing out the Makeup Revolution translucent powder, my little marshmallow sponge from Ulta that I really need to clean. So by 2022, I pretty much started like soft launching that I was going on a low buy. By 2023, I shared that I was cutting back on YouTube and cutting back on beauty videos. I took away the series that I created that had become a bit of a YouTube sensation, the Will I Buy It series like I mentioned, and how I said in the beginning, you know, YouTubers watch what's working for other people and then they try to figure out, okay, how can I like rinse and repeat that in my own way? And I started seeing more and more creators doing the series, which was so exciting, and seeing their own spin on it, and not only even just their own spin on it, but just we're talking about new makeup releases. Everyone has different opinions, so it was always really fun for me to tune in, you know, every week or every month or however, you know, consistently other creators were doing this series and just see what they were thinking about new makeup releases. It was so fun, but I knew taking away that video, that series, was going to impact my channel negatively. I knew that. I was aware of it. I drew it out for a very long time. Like I used to post that series every single Wednesday. Then it was like, oh, every other Wednesday, and like sometimes once a month. Like I slowly started to step back from it because I was so afraid to make a big change just all of a sudden, because I knew it was going to be a negative impact, and it was. Like I would get, you know, a lot of views, new subscribers, and sponsorships because of this series, but I knew I had to make that difficult decision because I needed to be aligned with my goals, and that was more important to me. Seeing what my life looked like post-divorce and post-move, seeing where I was, just seeing all of those different things, I knew that I had to, in short, change not only like my life, but I needed to change my work. I needed to change all of those different things. I had a comment come in the other day, and I don't know if people would be interested in seeing a video like this, but she asked a lot of really good questions specifically around divorce and specifically about what it looks like for women. And I screenshotted it, and I've been sitting here and I've been thinking about it, and I'm trying to think of the best way to talk about it, but I feel like I have so much to say because I learned so much. And especially when it comes to the impact that something like divorce has on women, when it comes to their career, when it comes to their finances, usually seems to be much more impactful than what happens to a man's life. And I don't say that in like a negative way, but it is what it is, because that is how our society has been for a long time, right? I'm in the US. I feel like there's something there, and I feel like there's stuff that I could say that maybe would help people, right? So for my eyes, I'm going to use the Colourpop and Grinch palette. I had this collection in my last PR haul. Did also want to say that Santa Sam is back. So every December I run what's called Santa Sam. So I do 12 days of giveaways, and the Grinch collection is what you can win in day one. They're all on my Instagram. I put the link for the next giveaway in my stories every single day. And then I also have a highlight, so you can click that every day because you can enter all the way through the 12 days. It's not like it doesn't end at day one, because I draw all of the winners after day 12 is over, and then I ship out all the packages by the 24th. So you'll win a beauty box from me every day. So the first one was winning the full Grinch collection. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, marchbeautyword, and check that out. And also leave a Santa Sam comment on this video for sure. So I first used the green shade. I think I just want to do another simple one shadow look because that's who I am. And to match my pink, I was going to do Stolen Stockings. Stolen Stockings, that's a fun name. All of that to say is I move in 2021. I see what's going on. I see that I need to make changes. I start the low buy, I start cutting back on beauty videos. Also during this time, we're talking like end of 2021. I've moved to Vegas, right? Living on my own. I start getting incredibly sick. I eventually get diagnosed with adrenal PCOS. And right after that, and as I'm trying to manage my health and get that in check, my dog, who is my best friend, gets diagnosed with cancer. There was a lot happening during that time. I was going through a lot. I was sharing some of it online. I feel like I barely touched the surface of what I was going through, but it just seemed like a lot. And makeup seemed, you know, like a distant thought when I was not only fighting for my health, but then I'm helping my best friend battle cancer. In no way am I saying if you're having a hard time, you shouldn't turn to makeup, because for a lot of people, that's what brings them joy. And what brings us joy is also individual. But for me, that's not something that was bringing me joy. It was actually something that was making me feel a little bit out of control. I felt so out of control during that time, me being sick, Aries being sick, that I wanted to find things that I could control. Like that was what my focus kind of turned to. Things like changing my eating habits, that gave me more control. Things like creating a solid morning routine, that made me feel more in control of my life. Understanding my cycle and my hormones, the importance of moving my body on a daily basis, all of those made me feel like I had control. Spending hundreds and even thousands of dollars on makeup that piled up in this little 2-bedroom apartment made me feel overwhelmed, made me feel out of control. It made me feel cluttered. It made me feel disorganized. The decision, really, when I sat down and thought about it, did become quite clear of what I needed to do. The shade is really pretty. It has like a pink and gold shift to it. Super pretty. Okay. I used to think minimalism meant giving things up. What did I have to take away from my life? What did I have to restrict? What did I have to let go of? This trip and the reflection that I did after it has made me realize, like upon returning home, thinking all these things, writing in my gratitude journal, it made me realize that minimalism and stepping back from beauty has given me everything that I have now. It has given me freedom. It has given me clarity. It has given me time. It has given me money. So when I started to see that I was getting all these comments of like, how are you taking this trip? How are you living without a return ticket? How are you going to all these different countries? How are you doing all of these things? It's because of the decisions that I've made in the past to getting here. That's why I share the very condensed version of what my last 5 years have looked like, because that is the journey of what got me here. Realizing how much I needed to change my habits, and I don't just mean the money that I was spending, but I've been working on a couple of videos talking about, you know, buying makeup, what it was really like starting a YouTube channel in 2016 and what that looked like, trying to, you know, find the success of someone like Carly Bible, Casey Holmes, Jaclyn Hill. When I look back at those spreadsheets and I see how much money I was spending on makeup every single month, it is, to be frank, it is a little horrifying. And so it's really not just about the money that was spent, but it was also like the physical clutter that was around me. It was my habits, it was my routines. All of that changed in the last 5 years to get me to where I am today. Taking a 1-month trip to Asia with no return ticket didn't happen because I was lucky. I made the big changes. I made the hard decisions. I did the unpopular things. I did the things that made me hate it and belittled in the eyes of the internet. But I'm making peace with it while living a life that I wouldn't have been able to if I kept living by the standards that others wanted me to. I think that has been one of my biggest realizations, as I have had a very big year of looking at myself, looking at my life, looking at my career, looking at the people in my life, looking at my mental health, looking at my physical health, looking at all of those things. I think that is one of the biggest things that I go back to. My habits, my routines, the decisions that I made, what I cut out of my life, what I brought into my life, the unpopular opinions, and making peace with living a life that I wouldn't have been able to if I kept living by the standards that others wanted me to. It's like a trending video right now of people being like, oh, like, girl, aren't you embarrassed to post that? And then they like zoom out and show like the world, and you're like, no, I'm like a little tiny speck on like a floating rock or whatever. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think we spend so much of our life worried about what other people think of us, worried about that external validation, worried about what that person's gonna think and that person's gonna say. And at the end, we should be living the life that we want to live and the one that brings us joy, right? I bought very few makeup products when I was in Japan. I bought an eyeliner, and I bought 2 mascaras. Yay. I did buy a lot of skincare. I will have a haul coming of my skincare, but like skincare, I use it. So for my makeup, I'm going to use this eyeliner from Heroine Make, the Long Stay Sharp Gel Liner. It looks to be a black. I thought it was like a purple at first, but I don't know. Everyone says this eyeliner is supposed to be so good, but we're going to try it. It's like so little. I almost worry that it's like too thin. Oh, you know what? I bet I didn't bring my eyeliner brush. I hate not bringing my like full makeup bag when I'm like out and about, but because I just did shop my stash, I have my makeup like a little bit of everywhere. But we're just gonna do this and then do the nail trick and hope for the best. What I mean by that is just using my nails to wing it out, but that one actually it's kind of working out because it's so thin, the liner. You see that? You can just kind of take your nail and wing it out. Easy peasy. So for the under eye, I feel like it's not really going on my waterline super smooth. I just used up my one from Kosas, which is like so crazy to me. For lower, it's fine. I just feel like it's not really like on my actual waterline, like it's not really doing much. But we shall see. I also want to see like how it lasts. Does it transfer? Does it move everywhere? All of those things. I think I just have to get used to like how small it is. I share this because it's almost a new year. And the start of the new year often gets people thinking, what will this year look like for me? What are my goals? What does my vision board look like? And I wanted to offer a very brief glance at what my life has looked like for the past 5 years, the good and the bad, the triumph that came from so many struggles. I share this because I hope it sparks that desire to change in you, because it is one of the top things that I get in my comments and that I get in my DMs. You have something that you want to change. You have something that you are feeling unhappy about. And as I've been sitting here and reflecting on my career in social media, knowing that I started because I wanted to help make a change, especially for women, and inspire them in a certain amount of ways, the answer has been in front of me this whole time. The answer has been in the conversations that we have, the DMs that you send me, the comments that you share. And so that's why I wanted to share a little bit more of a candid video and to share with you that if you have something that you've been thinking about that you want to make a change, you know, a career change, a move, starting a business, starting a family, like whatever it may be, you have to start somewhere, and somewhere starts with your mindset. And that's what I want this video to be the reminder of, because even if it sparks something, that first spark that I had back in 2020, and I can pinpoint when it happened, I can pinpoint to you. I was driving in my car. I was driving back from my fertility treatment appointment that I would have to drive 2 hours to by myself every week. I was driving back from that appointment and I was listening to a podcast from a female entrepreneur. And finally, for the 100th time, she said something and it clicked in my mind. I've heard this advice before. I've heard it 100 times before, but for some reason on that particular drive, it finally clicked with me and the mindset shift started. Starting to make a change doesn't mean you even start looking at real estate. You put in your 2-week notice, you apply for another job. It starts right here. Before you do anything else, you have to set yourself up internally, mentally. It might take you 5 years to finally look in the rearview mirror and think, wow, I did that. Life isn't perfect and it never will be. And maybe I'm not 100% where I want to be right now, but I see the strides. I see where I've been trying to take my life from when I first started making those small changes all the way back in 2020. I hear all the time from my audience, I'm too old to make a change. It's too hard because of XYZ. And I want to encourage you that if you start making small changes today, you too can get there. But I do want to keep it realistic that it's not going to be overnight. I'm talking about a 5-year journey. And I'm still not like 100% where I want to be. 5 years. I'm talking about 5 years here. It might take a significant chunk of time, so why not start right now? That's what I asked myself in 2020. Why not? from that one thought, I created a plan. And from that plan, I put those baby steps into motion. And from those baby steps, I made big changes. And from those big changes, I saw little results. And from those little results, I saw big results. All right, I think I'm gonna go with, we have the Volume and Curl Mascara and the Curl Keep Mascara Base. I'm gonna go with this one. I really don't know the difference, but I just bought two. But to get back to it, I now look at 2026 full of enthusiasm and hope that those big results will keep compounding. And I'll be honest, as we get to the end here, I initially planned for this video to be my goodbye to YouTube. And it's funny because even just like saying that and knowing how much I've been thinking about this makes me emotional. But I've had a lot of conversations recently about how I've been feeling about YouTube and honestly just my career as a social media influencer in general. I was pretty set on this one being my finale, my thank you for letting me share my life on this platform for the last 10 years, but I have nothing else to give the internet. But as I worked on this video and as I scripted every sentence, I felt drawn to share more of this journey. It felt almost anticlimactic to look back at these last 5 years and how so many of you have rocked with me for the last 5 years, see how much growth I've had and feel like I can share with a little bit more clarity and hopefully inspire at least one person watching my videos to encourage you that you can do that too. And then now that I have this and I can look back and I can see and I can try to enunciate clearly to you of how I did things and what the blueprint looks like. And even one of my last videos I shared was, here are 5 tangible things that you can do right now if you want to start a low buy. Here's my literal list, I'm giving it to you. This is what I did. This is the order that I did things in. And I got, you know, so many comments in that video of like, thank you, and I'm doing them and I'm on step 2 and this is how it's going. Like, and that made me so excited. And I was just going to take all of that and take everything I learned and be like, peace out. It made me so sad. It makes me sad even just to say it. I sat on this video for quite some time to try to make sure I was okay with that decision because I was so fiercely in the end this channel mindset. I will say in 2026, I'm planning to put more of an emphasis on my second channel where I talk more about books and healthy living. I feel more aligned with those conversations at the moment and I feel more passionate working on those videos. I do plan to keep this beauty channel really focused on videos like Shop My Stash, Project Pan, mindset videos, where I've been trying to shift them to over the last several months of 2025. And honestly, it seems like a lot of you have liked them. You know, I can see through my analytics which videos obviously are like being the most clicked on, the most engaged with. I can see from my comment section which videos like actually entice you to want to leave a comment on and, you know, engage with that video. And a lot of those are the Shop My Stash and the mindset videos, and that makes me really excited. And, you know, it's not to say, you know, I still think there's something really fun about sitting down and doing makeup together. This is a series I used to do every Friday. Every Friday was always a get ready with me on my channel. Sometimes just about the makeup, sometimes I would talk about something a little bit more. And I really love those. And I know a lot of you had said, like, I sit down and do my makeup with you at the same time. Like, that's when I watch the video, is when I'm doing my makeup. And I think something like that is so fun. And I would like to keep things like that and be able to share when I have my favorites. But to definitely put more of an emphasis on that mindset for this channel and then to focus on the second channel and doing what I can to really help. And I think I've fallen definitely into a mindset recently of like post as much as I can, share as much as I can. And I can say for 2025, I look back at posting consistently on multiple platforms every single day and just feeling like I'm on a hamster wheel. It's literally gotten me nowhere, to be frank. It has gotten me nowhere. And I know for me, for my mental health, for what I want 2026 to look like and the different goals that I have, that needs to change as well. Again, we'll still keep the channel, we'll still talk about beauty, we'll still get ready together. I still want to do Shop My Stash and be able to check in and talk about the mindset about makeup. But if you aren't subscribed to my second channel where I talk about books and healthy living, I really hope that you will, because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about on that channel, and one that I want to be able to switch and put more of a focus over there, because I've primarily always put my focus into the beauty channel because this was the one where I had my income from. But as that is shifting, I need to shift as well. And so that is where I'm going to focus more of my time, and also being able to focus more of my time on writing my books. Because at the end of the day, that's what I really, really love doing. And because of how much time I put onto social media, it doesn't give me a lot of time to put into my books, and that needs to change in 2026, because that is always my first love as well. But if you have any questions or video ideas, I would love to hear them. I know a lot of you appreciate my tips on that low buy video, but I started my social channels with the hopes of connecting with women. And all I want with these platforms is to help, is to make connections, and I'm ready to get back to that mission. And finally, for my lip combo, using from the Colourpop and Grinch, we have a Big Bow and then also Sweet Tot. I've been really enjoying this gloss. So if you have questions or video ideas, again, I know a lot of you loved like those low buy tips, but I would definitely love to hear them, because at the end of it, I started my social channel with the hopes of connecting with women, and what I've wanted with these platforms is to help and to make connections, and I'm ready to get back to that mission. So check out my second channel for videos around monthly goal planning, healthy habits, finance chat, and favorite books. And I hope you'll stick around here for beauty mindfulness, minimalism, and your reminder to wash your makeup brushes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.